Hey there. Well, hopefully you've had a chance to see the YouTube video we put out for the week's forecast. We are here to answer any questions you have. We're happy to do mini chart readings if you give us your information. The easiest way to do that is time, place, location. And then we can put it into our software and help navigate you in your life and what's going on this week. Hi, Chelsea. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And this week, we have more of that grand water trine. The big headline is that Mercury retrograde ends at the end of this week. Saturn retrograde ends at the end of this week. So those are really big. Yay! Oh my God. Somebody will stop feeling like the world is upside down or whatever it is. So hopefully during the retrograde, you've taken advantage of all the words. In our case, I feel like we're remodeling, reviewing, doing. There's so many things going on simultaneously that is taking a lot of focus and work. And I know a lot of people are feeling the intensity of this time. The new moon we had last week with the new moon, the sun, and Mercury all conjunct opposite Uranus. It was an intense week for us. I would be willing to bet for you too. Let us know. I'd be very curious.
What was the surprise?
Yeah, and we're continuing to experience, as Hollis says, the big reveal post the eclipse. And now that Saturn and Neptune are going to be ending their retrogrades, wow, more is to be revealed. Hard to say exactly what, unless we know exactly where some of your major placements are, because if you're right now with this Mercury retrograde, if you're Virgo or Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury, and it's everyone we know has been like, this has been a retrograde that has been off the charts. We had a plumbing, and Mercury was in Scorpio, is in Scorpio, and started off in Sag. I'm pretty sure we had a plumbing issue at the beginning of the Mercury retrograde, and towards the end. We had one last Friday too. Really fun. Expensive. So hopefully you're doing okay, and this week is definitely a big game changer in terms of the energy. Okay.
And, there's been a lot going on. So I'm glad you guys are tuning in. Like I said, go ahead and post, like Bright Hawk said, go ahead and post your information about your birth chart or any astrology questions or any questions that you might have about the astrology or about the upcoming energies this week. Mercury is going direct. So go ahead, Simran, and go ahead and ask your question. Anyone can ask a question. If I have your chart, ask me to look at your chart and answer a particular question. I'll try to address your question. I'm just going to say that, this Mercury retrograde has definitely been more on the intense side. It's definitely been something we've had to transcend, or we've had to make some emotional shifts. We've had to make maybe some physical shifts. It might depend on exactly when exactly, like where exactly the Mercury retrograde falls in your chart. And I think that has a lot to do with how anything affects you. So if you're ever listening to any kind of astrology forecast or anything like that, then you want to consider that that whatever's happening could affect everyone a little bit differently. That's kind of the way astrology works, actually. And it affects everyone a little bit differently. So it's a more complicated also, the like rise of AI. Now, while AI might be able to help you like sort out a few things in relation to your astrology chart, I would not recommend it for I seen someone posted something in a group actually. And what they were saying is that they had taken a synastry chart and tried to get AI to read it. And AI made up some crazy ass stuff. She copied and pasted what AI said, and all the real astrologers were laughing because, of course, she doesn't know anything about astrology, and she wanted to know if it was accurate. And essentially, the AI told her that there were rare alignments, rare synastry, and actually, it wasn't rare at all. And some of them. And then it also didn't point out obvious things like Venus and stuff like that when it comes to relationships. So it was kind of, I just wouldn't recommend. AI could, like, tell you what this symbol means or where your Saturn is and if it's in any aspect and what the degree is if you're having a hard time reading the chart, actually. But you'd be better off Googling it and reading someone's blog or something about having Saturn and Pisces or something like that. Because AI, I think it's not human enough. And plus, what you must understand about astrology is that it is a tool just like tarot and other things, and it is used with intuition. So you're essentially asking AI to be intuitive, which it's not really known for. I don't know if you've ever had a reading by AI. I've had AI like do tarot. I've done like the AI tarot cards. Oh, I did the AI poem reading. It told me that my heart was the strongest it would ever be and that I would always have a strong heart. Now, that might be emotionally and mentally, but physically, I was diagnosed with a genetic heart condition. It's been completely inaccurate about things. And I'm just like, what? Oh, man. So don't tap into the AI. Don't expect it to interpret things. Don't it don't expect it to have intuition. You're asking AI. It's almost like asking AI to I don't know. It might be better at therapy than intuition, honestly. Um honestly, really. So anyway, what's this person's name? Simran. I got your chart here, and you're asking about career stability. And I will say that you'll probably find complete resolution by December the 16th because your chart is actually experiencing the Mercury retrograde at the 10th house, which is a house of career, is actually up at the top of your chart. So this is actually Sagittarius. Now, the Mercury retrograde got exactly to your Saturn, just about. It got to 6 degrees Sag, and Simran's is at 9 degrees. It's only 3 degrees off, and that usually speaks, and the MC, it's all kind of right there. So, Simran, I would say that you're going to experience definitely stability headed your way. It's on its way. And I would say that you'll probably get a job or have some sort of like something lined up in work by December the 16th. Okay. So I hope that helps, Simran. And that's really what you need to know because you have a lot in Sagittarius. And so Mercury is about to come on by. And once the Mercury retrograde, which Mercury retrograde has been half in Sag and half in Scorpio. Okay. So if you have any placements in anywhere from 20 degrees Scorpio to 6 degrees Sagittarius, you definitely felt it. And so there was definitely like sort of this experience where Some of us might already be experiencing resolution. Simran, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a job offer by the end of this week. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. Mostly because Mercury went all the way there. Did you apply for a job earlier this month? I bet I mean, you're saying you're looking for a job, I'm assuming. You've done the work, you've done the steps. If you applied for a job earlier this month and maybe you've already given up on it, I wouldn't give up on that, because it could still come through. Like if you're like, oh, they must have passed over me or whatever. Because the Mercury retrograde might have just delayed them calling you or contacting you for some reason because of the Mercury retrograde. Because Mercury came all the way right up to your Saturn, and I'm hoping that you responded to it and probably were called to apply for a particular job. And then if you did apply for that particular job, then what would happen is then it's going to turn around and you're going to think that they passed you over. You're going to have this whole belief system, because it's all the ninth house. It's all going to sort of, Mercury retrograde is going to have you thinking that they don't want you, or you're not enough, or whatever. And then the next thing you know, Mercury goes direct and they call in for a second interview, and then you get the job offer and you're working by December 16th. Simran, go for it, dude. I'm pretty sure that's kind of like the story there. So, like I said, if you have an astrology question, if you would like me to look at your astrology chart, I'm happy to look at it for you. If I already have your chart, just ask me to look at it. There's a lot going on, right? There's a lot in the astrology right now. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of the Saturn going direct, I think, is a big deal because it was up against Neptune. It's been traveling with Neptune most of this year, and every time it just moves a little bit away from Neptune, we end up getting something revealed, something shows up. And we're like, what? Oh, okay. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. I can look at your astrology chart. I'm doing astrology readings. And I think I have yours. I'm pretty sure. I think I do.
So I'd love to add just a little bit to Simran before we
Go for
leave
it.
there. So the other thing that we've been talking a lot about this year, you may be aware of it, is the eclipses. You have what we call a luminary conjunction that's happening this year. You have the South Node in Scorpio. Oh, sorry, I thought that was Virgo. Okay. Pisces and Taurus, Scorpio and Taurus. I'm sorry. Forgive me. So you have a very strong Pluto in Scorpio. That's its rulership next to the South Node. So that's a very strong placement. And the other thing that just sort of jumped out at me is that the placement of your nodes creates a T-square with your Libra moon, and that is your Aquarius moon. My apologies. And so that configuration happens this week. We have a T-square with the nodes with Mars. And so what Hollis has said is very valuable, because Mars squaring the nodes this week, this is true for everybody, Mars squaring the nodes, and Mars is in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. Mars rules Aries, which is a fire sign. Mars rules the god of war, is all about action. So having a T square, which means an opposition and a square, it's a perfect triangle, means that we're all at a luminary crossroad with Mars, and there's choices to be made. And it definitely speaks to, okay, your past, the way you've been doing it, the way things have gone, probably can't continue. The future is definitely to be revealed. And Mars wants to take action. And so there's this energy of like, what do I do? Where do I go? Come on, I got to do something. And being able to hold that tension and being able to see what needs to be revealed, what direction you're being moved towards, that's the work. Okay? That's the work. So, of course, if you want a job, you have to put yourself out there and apply. And then you have to hold steady, knowing that something will reveal and you will know what to do and do it. Definitely don't ignore it. You also, you have Jupiter on your ascendant, which makes everything bigger. But it's in Pisces, so be very careful of victim thinking, of feeling sorry for yourself, or worse, Jupiter in a water sign like that can definitely point to overindulging, drinking, numbing out, wanting to, take the easy road and not necessarily do the work. So just take that as exactly what it is, an opportunity to understand that when we can hold the space and not run away from it and see what needs to happen, we're capable. We can do hard things. And this year, there's a lot of hard things we're all being kind of pushed towards. And so I just wanted to share that and wish you all the best. I hope you get a great job.
Simran, we actually did just address your reading just before Brighthawk started talking. I was talking, and I gave you specific dates as to when you will have a job or that you'll get a job offer. So if you could just rewind a little bit to right before Brighthawk was talking, I was talking. Everything before that, you'll see this message here was at the bottom. That's how you know it was yours. Okay. So, so Sarah, I'm just going to say, Sarah, oh man, Sarah, have you had a very intense November thus far? I am sure of it because you've had a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio and Sag, and that will be very, very intense for you because you have numerous placements in both. And in fact, it will be speaking to your life path, but it also will be speaking particular to relationships, friendships to be particular, and friendships with women because you have Venus in the 11th house in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, if they happen to be a Sagittarius, that would be interesting too. But Sagittarius rules your 11th house, which is a fire sign. And it speaks to maybe there's been a review or an edit or a revisiting of friendships, or maybe or broken relationships or whatever like that. Maybe you've come back to things, and it might not just be one person. It could be numerous people. And you're kind of like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? The answer is yes. Because Mercury actually got right up to your Venus at 6 degrees Sagittarius and then turned around and went back into Scorpio, which actually rules your career. And then now it's about to turn around again and go forward, and it will go over top. I will say that you'll probably feel more comfortable and confident about your choices by the time you get to December the 16th. So whatever that is, whatever happens for you between now and then. But I feel like whatever intensity might be coming up around work, around friendships, around women in your life, money, any of those kinds of things, I don't suspect that it's actual. I mean, if it's money with a friend or something like that. Because it's the 11th house, which usually rules friends, also kind of rules like people that have power over you. So that would be like co-workers, landlords, people like that, those kinds of people. And with that Mercury retrograde directly in that chart, that could definitely speak to directly in the 10th and 11th house. That's going to speak more to relationships and relationships at work, and people that you know in that way. So, don't Bright Hawk, you might want to check out Sarah's. You'll probably find Sarah's chart a little bit interesting for you. Mostly because did you get it, Bright Hawk? Not yet, huh? It's not offering it to you. Hold on. Let me try.
Yeah, there it is.
Oops. I just exited, so just a moment. Here you go. Because Bright Hawk, you'll see that Sarah has a lot of sort of concentration in one area. That's why I'm showing it to you. Right. And their aspects are actually minimal. Sarah's aspect. Wow. So that's why I just thought you might want to see Sarah's chart. Wow. I thought you might think it was fascinating. And because Sarah, what it is you have all that stuff up there in Sagittarius and Scorpio, and then you just have that one line that goes down and that little blue triangle, and then that's kind of it, right? Most people have things more spread out in the chart. It just means you have a lot of concentration around friends and work and business. It doesn't mean that the other areas of your life don't apply. They do, but they probably sort of revolve around friends, landlords, coworkers, people that influence you, work and career, and what you put out in the world in particular, and even your higher learning. So that would be like school, and those kinds of things, because you have Pluto and Mercury in the 9th house. You have a little bit in the 8th and 7th house, but and a little bit down in the 4th, but everything you do is pretty much revolved around there. It probably feels very normal to you, Sarah, but not everybody has those things connected, but you do. So hi, Tabitha. Like I said, you guys, you can totally post your birthday information, or if I have your chart or you think I have your chart, you can ask me and I'll take a look. I can even share it with Bright Hawk so she can take a look. And I just thought, Bright Hawk, you might like to see Sarah's chart. It's very focused in that area.
It's so true that every single person's chart is unique, and no two charts look the same. I want to answer Samantha over on Facebook, asked an interesting question. They said, hello, so you said that if you have anything in the water signs around 24 degrees, the trine, which is happening all week pretty much, will be impacting us, I think. I have Pluto at 29 degrees Scorpio in the 1st house. What does that mean? Well, let's break that down. Yes, you will feel it most significantly because Mercury will be transiting back over that exact spot. Pluto is all about transformation. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and it's very deep transformation. Scorpio is known for being a keeper of secrets, being very spiritual, being very insightful, intuitive. They see things that they see things as so that'll see, like Hollis has Scorpio placements that they will see things so incredibly clearly that other people are like, oh my God, how did you know that? And to Hollis, it's like obvious. And so sometimes strong Scorpio placements can make other people feel uncomfortable if they're not comfortable being seen, or if they're not comfortable being honest with themselves, right? So
wait. I'm just going to share this real quick. My granddaughter said that it's like I'm staring into her soul.
At which point she wants to squirm away from you, I'm sure. Oh, this is losing it. Oh my God. That's pretty funny. Yeah. So, and in the 1st house, so that explains Pluto, Scorpio, and now the 1st house. The 1st house is all about identity, our personal self, our health and well-being, those are the words. Those are the things that are the 1st house. So Mercury coming across Pluto in the first house can be, you might be communicating differently about who you are. You might be thinking differently about how you present yourself, or you may be experiencing your own personal transformations from time to time. That change is really important. Authenticity is really important to a Scorpio. Things of that nature. You want to add, Hollis?
What I was actually thinking was that Pluto in 29 degree, first of all, that's an anaretic degree. And this Mercury retrograde has pretty much been right over top of it. And the thing about that is pretty important, Samantha, because this could have something to do with your relationship with like your personal identity and politics or the world stage. Is there something going on in that direction? Are you stepping up into activism? Are you starting to feel like I have to be involved, or I have to do this thing, or anything like that, Samantha, in your identity? Um, and so if it's been rough for you, or you're thinking you should be doing that, or anything like that, that is pretty much that Pluto, because Pluto's in its rulership in Scorpio. And the other thing about Scorpio is, hey, I'll fully admit it, I have a soft spot for people that have disabilities, of course, LGBTQ people, not just because I am one, but I always have been that way. People that are minorities or anything like that. Usually people with strong Scorpio placements are more sensitive to those kinds of topics, to people that are marginalized. And with Pluto in Scorpio, that speaks to your entire generation, which is a whole bunch of people that have Pluto in Scorpio. It's most of the people that were born within 20 years of your birthday, actually. So usually people that are 20 years older than you, because you're at the end of it. Okay. But they asked you, your entire generation is asking our culture to treat marginalized people fairly. And it's, of course, usually, unless they have Pluto retrograde or badly aspected, most of the time, most of those people, most of that generation will agree that we need to treat everyone fairly. Okay. Now, there are other generations that do as well. Like Pluto and Libra, we tend, unless it's retrograde, we tend to lean more towards people being treated fairly. I have Pluto and Libra, which is right before Scorpio. It may also speak to any messages that you might get about your health or your well-being or anything like that. If you're having any kind of intuitive thing about health, or you're experiencing any kind of health things, I would highly recommend that you see a doctor and you address it. Do not ignore it. Mercury does deliver messages sometimes. It doesn't usually have anything to do with actual death, but sometimes it will deliver messages about it. My son had what we call a syncope episode that landed him in the hospital, and Mercury was involved in that. And it was actually during a Mercury retrograde, and a syncope is when the heart beats rhythmically and the person doesn't get enough oxygen in their brain, and then they pass out. Now, they don't usually die from it. It's possible, but not usually. But it also is sort of a red flag for him to take care of himself, because he has inherited the heart condition that I live with, okay, that also killed my father. And nowadays they have ways of preventing death with this type of thing, or at least pushing it out, giving us an extra 10 years or 20 years. And I've had those treatments, but my son had barely been tested at the time. And it was almost as if Mercury was kind of saying, hey, get tested. You have a kid. Okay. So I just want to say, if something's coming up, if you're feeling something, make sure you go to the doctor, make sure you address it, make sure you pay attention. Okay. Mercury will sometimes delay, or if you got a diagnosis or anything like that, it doesn't mean, it's usually the universe trying to give you a heads up so that you can change the trajectory. It's giving you the opportunity to change the trajectory, especially because it's Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is super intense, and it also has a lot to do with pushing us forward and having us have emotional shifts that help us in the future. They help things get better. And I feel like that's the part you need to tap into, Samantha, is to recognize, and including everybody that's here, is that this Mercury retrograde is coming to an end this week. And while it still might feel a little bit intense and we're still at a pretty fast pace, we're at least headed in the direction that the universe wanted us to go. So I think that that's really important. Now, Chelsea wants me to take a look at her chart.
Sorry, can I just read
Go
the
for it.
comments? Samantha just really resonated with what you said. That all makes sense for me, especially activism and fairness. Oh wow. Okay, there is actually something I'm interested into looking into more. So, good, Samantha. I'm glad Hollis could help you out, and yeah, some big stuff, really big stuff. I'm really glad that we can, help break it down a little bit for folks. And yeah, go ahead. And I think you were going to talk about Chelsea's chart.
Is that? Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had the right Chelsea.
I know. It's just
because I actually have a couple of Chelseas. Actually, Chelsea. But your career is definitely ruled by this. Oh my gosh, yes. You are so affected by, in fact, this is, I guess you're having some troubles around relationships at work, Chelsea, I'm betting. And you said something about fun, and I see that. And, the South Node is in Virgo right now. And that's talking about a lot of things that maybe you're having a shift from with friends and what feels good and what's good for you. And that South Node there is speaking to you about fun. It's speaking to you about what is fun. And maybe you used to think something was a lot of fun and now it's not very much fun. But you are going through a transition. You will probably start to have some resolution even at the end of this Mercury retrograde. And then you'll also probably experience more change in the coming year, mostly because it's ruled by Virgo and the South Node is there and it will be traveling through there. I do see that you have an asteroid we call Hygeia. And it is sort of like how you receive your healing. So I know that you receive your healing best in when you're having a good time, when you're having fun. And that's really important to you. But right now, also at the same time, your friends are changing, but you may not even be aware of that, Chelsea. Like there may be some part of it that you're not even aware of. Maybe you're not really sure about some friends or whatever. Go ahead and make those shifts and make room in your life for new things because because the universe wants to send it to you, particularly now that Uranus is headed back to your moon. You are being asked to change who you are in a lot of ways. Your life path is being shifted in these transits right now. You are not imagining things, Chelsea. It is a very intense thing. You have Uranus retrograde on your moon. You have this Mercury retrograde transiting who you attract in your 6th and 7th house, which has to do with work and who you attract, like friendships, relationships of all kinds. Plus you have the South Node in your house of fun. And plus you have Venus in Sagittarius in the 7th house, which also speaks to like money and friendships and relationships. And that's in the house of relationships. So it definitely speaks to like female friends or whatever. And the Mercury retrograde, like Mercury went right up to there earlier this month and turned around and came back into your onto your descendant, and it's speaking to your resonance. So I wouldn't be surprised to hear, Chelsea, that your entire resonance, your entire vibration is changing right now. And you have such major transits right now. You are going through major changes. And then on top of that, in 2026, you are destined to have certain things come your way, including things about work, because Saturn is retrograde in Pisces right now, and so is Neptune. But they came up and they touched your North Node in Aries. You have the North Node in Aries in the 11th house. And so they came up to that 1 degree. They came up, they touched it, and now they've turned around and gone backwards. So now you might feel like you're kind of stuck, or things aren't quite, and you thought maybe you were going to do something, but now you're not doing it. You're not headed in that direction. But by the time Saturn gets back up there next spring, you're going to be knowing exactly where you're going. You're going to know exactly which direction you're headed. So I want you to recognize that you are in a transformational time. Try to go soft on yourself. Try not to be too hard on yourself. Try not to be too rigid. I know sometimes Taurus moon can be like, but that's the way I've always done it. But you might need to shift that. And the more you're capable of shifting that, the easier this will be. Okay. And then on top of that, you might feel like super intense because you're a Scorpio, and in the Scorpio rising, it's best to just shift your emotionality to the way that you're kind of looking at it, I bet, on the horizon, and you just have to decide to go. So go ahead and take off on that, Chelsea. I'm pretty sure you got this. I believe in you. I'm sure you can do it. Um, and then okay. Yeah, Chelsea, I bet you are shedding an old skin. South Node in the 5th house. It also could be about like children and romantic relationships. 5th house, fun, children, and romantic relationship and creative endeavors. Okay. That's Tabitha and Dylan. Tabitha and Dylan. So I can look at yours, Tabitha, because I'm betting that's who it is. I hope you guys are okay. I hope you guys are transcending this Mercury retrograde okay. I bet it's been quite difficult. Some emotional shifts going on for the two of you, particularly around probably your romantic relationship directly. So, the best thing to do is to make the shifts that you've been considering or trying to make. Try to move towards those growth, because it will lead you to a better place. Both of you will do better if you go ahead and lean into what's being called of you instead of resisting it. Like if you resist it too much, it's not really going to serve you well. You're better off go ahead and lean into it, make the changes that you're being called to make, and life will get easier for you, because that's usually our biggest mistake, I think, especially in a Mercury retrograde, is that like how can I say, we resist change, a lot of us, it's hard for us, especially people with fixed signs. And Sagittarius, Scorpio is a fixed sign. And I think what happens is that we also tend to we just tend to kind of resist change in general. Some of us are easier to embrace it than others. And what I would say to you, Dylan, is Dylan, like I said, embrace that emotional change, that emotional shift that is being asked of you to, but also for you guys to review your home life, to review what home is like for you and what's important to you. What do you value? Review. Literally, Jupiter is retrograde there. It's asking you to sort of speak about and discuss what is important, especially this week with the grand trine and water. It's going to push you to make emotional shifts that could be really good for you and really helpful. And so it's good to have this conversation about maybe the same things that were important 5 years ago are no longer important, particularly if you have kids. Stuff changes all the time. And so it's really a good idea to kind of review what's important in your home and what's important to both of you so that you guys can make a better home that feels good for both of you. Okay? So I hope that these readings have been helpful for all of you. I hope that you find comfort in knowing that, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Hey, you know what? I have said that to myself in tears, okay? So I totally get it. Sometimes it's really hard. And, I just always got to say that energy of understanding that the universe is leading you, and instead of resisting the changes that you need to make or avoiding that hard conversation or whatever it is that you're resisting, instead embracing that usually leads you to a better place. If you catch yourself resisting, try to instead lean in and see if things get better. All right. All right, Bright Hawk, I think we have exhausted the stream. And we appreciate if you share this, invite your friends to tap in and get a free reading. They can, post their chart. We appreciate if you do that. Help word get out there. And we appreciate you attending this live. Go ahead, Bright Hawk.
Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.